My comment on the Fahm al-Quran with Amina Elahi. Dua. This world is a means to be devout. Let us ever realize what to be without. Good and truth be upon us. Let us actualize without a fuss. Surah Yusuf. Stories are not just to entertain, but to establish. Symbology trains us beyond the plain in what we really should relish. Mythology gets us past the pain and embraces reality without a need to embellish. Part 1. We open upon a practice for a lifetime, and upon a balance of what we do and what is done to us. Divinity wants the involvement of beings who could have put up a fuss. Human spirituality is endowed with a way to respond to everything. Part 2. Direction detracts from putting blood and soil first, and then from forming attachments to outer forms. Our mission is not blind faith, but considering the inner details of living and repenting of mere norms. For each is the toil towards sublimely realizing and actualizing. Part 3. I will not rely on intercession, but I will deserve it. I will become a friend of the divine, beyond the body and clear through it. I will not be ill in how I remind, nor in what is proprietary. I will not be kept from the fundamentals by the needless conditions of society. Para 4. What I loved is shared. The inner and the outer, the former and the latter are pairs. If we don't have the air of love, others will replace us there. I am not like the speculating liars and truly turn to what is near. Para 5. Not everything that we should or shouldn't do is spelled out by our country. We still haven't fixed how we are relating and ended the injustice of slavery. There are those who are the subjects of cursing, and this is identified naturally. Fear of them are limits of your being causes alteration of your ritualizing. But be steadfast according to your capability. Para 6. Why don't they just admit that they worship female devils? Are you on the way of Jesus, the angels, or the unchanged ways of the animals? Why are you changing the forbidden and the lawful? Regard not their disrespect to your personal calling and strive beyond intoxication. Para 7. Oaths need to be most serious and not a bother. If it is wrong for me, I will not take part in it of others. Negative and positive are of the same creator. This song is not of being conditional, but whatever about the past, present, and future. Para 8. Don't blame those merely forced by necessity. Following mere desires is inferior to spirituality. Little is in the realm of impermissibility. Indulgence can be a part of chastity. Admit what you have done and have been bestowed of in ability. Para 9. The names of the enemies are forgotten. They are always needed. There are always needed signs for the towns. Don't just worship like the ground. Be moderate in more than sound. Be ready for the rain and tranquility to come down. The victorious need to strive towards that condition. Our vitality should be used to actually address oppression. Then it's the sublimation away from the actual distraction. We should know each decision and whose presence is forbidden. The tranquility upon him and his companion is available to all, except the opposition, whom deserve perdition, and will not get any of our intercession. Para 11. Relationships are one thing, but we need to go beyond what people are to us for charity. Responses are more than guilt, shame, and fear, but who you are in actuality. It is best to take to avoidance of some places of supposed religiosity. It is not just for us to passively accept, but play an active role in your conditionality. Part 12. Keep our hearts and hands upon what is best. Can you match this art? What ideas have you confessed? Family and friends will not always pass the same tests. Save yourselves at the least. Para 13. Have they really gotten away with it? Are the forces of nature your influence, or do you ignore it? Some go beyond the caricatures. And from that is the mystic banquet in which we sit. Light beings, fire beings, and clay beings respond to it. Para 14. There is so much out there for you if you stop lusting for that of others. For me is the guidance of the land and the stars. I have found my place between fire and water. We are cows, we are bees, we are witnesses, and can become leaders. By night I remain a seer. Para 15. The model is there, but experience is further ascension. Avoid the ways to the actually forbidden. The devil leads the charge and influences desire of more than the musicians. Souls will have the ways of the dissension, lest they would have had other inclination. This is the use of each formulation. Don't hold the truth with ostentation. Para 16. Now is the time for naturally reserved spirituality. And this has a central concern for family and personal sincerity. Honor is for active chastity and femininity. Will they ever stop saying about Mary and Jesus what is imaginary? A true sage or prophet is not prone to fantasy. Para 17. Are you prepared for being dead? It goes beyond just being well read. Consider bestowals, like how you are fed. It is up to you to get straight your head. Para 18. It takes action that backs up assertions to be a believer. The excessive burdeners are those who make those choices among humans and hidden beings of fire. Yet they want existence to be according to their desires. Who is really sovereign? And who put actuation to being an observer? Para 19. Let's live upon a cause. I am ready to recite the clause. It is not for me to promote mere caprices. Argumentation is not for being pernicious. Our focus is really the perfecting of consciousness. Para 20. Even when there is clarity, we only have a part. Those who violate decency do more against their own heart. It may seem impossible to achieve victories, but more than atonement is possible in your art. Para 21. Sacred formulas are to be relationship workings. Address what you mutually believe and are practicing. Remember truth rather than just manipulating. For the afterlife, I am a striver. Of this world, we are still to be cultivators. The song remains the same. The throngs are to remove each other's blame. Long is the perfection of other brothers. Who of the confederation is wrong? Each kingdom is built up of qualities down to the individual prongs. Para 22. Perfecting is also for women. When home is not made into a prison, beautifying is more than that which is alluring to men. Discrediting falsely is a pain. Are you fabricating limitations? Honoring and dignifying have the same origination. Para 23. We can ignore the opportunity or be a spiritual worker, whether we realize it or not. Whatever is subject to a recorder. In the broad ways are against the more common sort of demiurge. Be thou an exerciser. Rather than going with the crowd, be willing to go with the percent and be a doubter. Para 24. All the sensual, emotional, and psychiatric highs are available in this spirituality. Each soul is moved along in sides of duality. In your control is so much of your destiny. Are you mindful of God or upon infernality? Para 25. Our existence is a product of cultivation. Those who lacked self-concern will not be able to keep from humiliation. They don't want in their presence the gender they divinize in its ornamentation. From being involved in the consultations to obscuration, the time comes to assume the position. Para 26. Let's have nothing to do with new religions or a new type of prophetic messenger. The corrupt elite and their denizens fear the lessons of conduct and kibar. From both sides and even closer, be there a witnesser. Are you dispersed or replete as a purpose-driven expressor? Para 27. Revelation was interrupted by the worshippers of the Nikala, taking them as intercessors. Inspiration connects to the lessons in nature and its substances to teach these beings of clay and fire. Are you with the division or the uniter? Beyond the success of a contriver is what will be if we don't let luxury be a spoiler. Para 28. From the divorce by insult to the just divorcer, social interaction shows if you are a maintainer of faith or a pretender. Guidance stops the extremist, and judgment will then wait for its informer. Hold to ethics for themselves rather than letting relationships be the restrictor. Are you an independent conveyor? Para 29. Life is an open book test. Death and negativity can be upon what is best. Be a living example of your professed religiosity. The old ones are not always the objects of confessed spirituality. They accuse of having the quality of the fallen angels, but some of them have chosen to be aright. They are really the ones who make you crazy and cause a fright. Para 30. Ending where you began. There is true beauty in who the mundanes consider uglier. I am considering where I am journeying. and what to do about the spiritual and human whisperers. And so the tone in the background is the employing of brainwaves. And these brainwaves are basically the gamma theta sync, the gamma beta sync, and the gamma epsilon sync. And in addition, we could say we have the gamma alpha sync, we have the gamma that's delta. You can also say that this is delta. And 60. So let me know if any of that helped.